Hello.
Today's episode was originally recorded in October of last year. Unfortunately, only about 100 people heard it, so...
You suck. Damn.
I was in New York City for work, and it was, honestly, wasn't that great. Like, don't really recommend it. But if you've been in New York City before, or you're from there, please tell me if any of what you're about to hear sounds familiar, or I might be tripping.
He might be tripping.
By all means, tell me if I'm tripping.
Please tell him if he's tripping.
I don't think I'm tripping, though, for the record. But I'm also biased, because at the end of the day, it is. Therapy. The Airbnb that I was staying in Newark, New Jersey was actually really nice. It's basically just somebody's house. In case you haven't used Airbnb before, this sounds like I'm just doing an ad for Airbnb. This is just part of the story. So I'm staying at this Airbnb. It's basically just a house. There's 3 bedrooms total. There's 2 upstairs. There's 1 downstairs. But the one downstairs, it isn't just downstairs. It's like a 3-story house. Not 3 stories. There's 3 levels to it. 3 stories sounds really high.
You sound really high.
The point is, I was staying in the basement, okay? And there was one other guy that was there, and his wife also traveled with him as part of the trip. So that was really cool. I love that for them. I wasn't jealous at all. And then there was this one other guy who was really cool. His name was Z. He just kind of kept to himself, and that's fine. I only saw him like at nights when he would come down to like the common area to eat. But on my second night at this Airbnb, I'm bored and I kind of want to drink. So I decide that I'm going to go out into the streets of New Jersey at night.
Will you please?
By myself and score some alcohol, right? So I assume that there's alcohol at the nearest gas station. So I look for the nearest gas station, and it's like less than half a mile away. I'm like,
Okay, we can do that.
so I FaceTime my wife, get her on a little video call just to, be a witness. I mean, just to hear from her because I miss her dearly. And the streets are dark, okay? And it just so happens that our phones are both like very high tech.
Ooh.
So you can't really understand how dark the streets of Jersey are at night. And it's like around the Rutgers University, like college town area. But eventually I make it to this gas station. The gas station's called Lukoil. From the moment I walk in there, I feel like it's extraordinarily small for a gas station. And as soon as I walk in there,
The vibes are off.
there's only 3 people in there, and they all kind of stop mid-conversation and just look at me. And they don't stop looking at me. But I don't realize this until I look around for a little bit and realize that what I'm looking for is not there. So I look at the cashier, who seems to be an African gentleman.
Why'd you say it like that? He's black.
There's 2 customers there. They're both like white dudes. And the guy that's running the shop is this African dude. And I say, y'all got any beer here? And immediately everybody looks at each other, except for me. Because I guess they were shocked that I just said, y'all got any beer? Which I now realize must sound very strange to these people at this Jersey gas station.
Expose him!
So, everybody shakes their head, and the cashier's like, no, this is a gas station, which I find funny because I've never been to a gas station that didn't have beer. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is just like a different kind of joint. Excuse me. I did see on my maps earlier that there's a 7-Eleven right down the road. Is there any beer there? And they all start laughing. And the cashier is like, that's a gas station too. And I'm like, I know the 7-Eleven is a gas station. I'm not from a different country. Just gas stations, I just thought it would have beer. And he's like, this is Jersey.
Okay.
There's no beer at the gas stations. And then everybody's like,
Where are you from? Yeah, man. Where are you from?
and I'm like, Georgia? I immediately start getting bullied.
Oh, howdy. Y'all got any beer? Y'all, he's from
Atlanta.
And I realize that they're mocking me, which is funny because do I sound like I'm from the Peach State? Like when you're hearing the sound of my voice on this podcast right now, do I sound like your typical Southerner? I certainly didn't think so. I don't think so right now, but I guess when the first thing you hear from somebody when they walk into a gas station is that y'all got any beer, I guess, I could understand that reaction. So I end up having to walk the dark streets of New Jersey for like another half mile
at night
in even darker conditions to get to the closest liquor store, because apparently that's the only place you can buy beer in Jersey is at a liquor store. Who'd have thunk? I walk in there, backpack still on, slides.
Nice.
People were giving me looks again. Do I look that much like a tourist? Okay, I don't know. I guess I am like walking the streets instead of driving. But I walk in, and I'm like, do you all have beer in this establishment?
That's suspicious.
I'm being weird. So eventually I'm pointed towards the direction of the alcohol, which is everywhere in the store because it's a liquor store. And I discover that the prices for alcohol are significantly higher in general, but not for beer, which is what I'm there for. So I get the beer, and then I call my brother, and we talk about how silly my southern self is all the way back to my Airbnb so I can drink my Miller Lite in the basement on my own while watching YouTube on my laptop. You ever heard of Mr. Beast? He's got some crazy videos.
I built a giant death trap, which is just one of many traps we've built. And for every trap this contestant survives, he wins $100,000.
Hey, actually, I was just thinking, I'm just going to take this episode in a completely different direction. I don't care. I witnessed so many different scams, hustles, games, and grifts in New York, and I kind of want to talk about a few. Some are like obvious, and some are way less obvious, but I noticed 3
At least.
that I think are like worth mentioning, and I kind of just want to talk about that, at least for the rest of this episode, because we got time, right? We got time.
Today I got time, cuz.
New York is crazy, and frankly, I don't really feel like I need to go back. The pizza is really cool. The vibes, the scenes, the atmosphere, like it looks cool. At night, especially in Times Square, very cool. But people are hustling out there. I'm not going to lie. Like, straight up scamming. So the first thing that I noticed was a group of gentlemen right outside of Comic-Con, the same place that I was working. Now, I am working for one of the most popular nonprofit organizations in the United States. So if you see me out in the streets, I probably have a shirt on with the name of the organization. I have a badge on with the name of the organization. I have a tablet that has a electronic encrypted form on it with the name of the organization. These other gentlemen that are stationed outside of Comic-Con, they're walking around with like essentially mixtapes, CDs of sorts. And as people are walking by, they're trying to hand them to them. And it looks like if you saw them from across the street, you would think that they were handing them out for free and they were just trying to gain exposure. But if you are close to them, if you interact with them in any way, if you take one of these seemingly free items from them, they'll ask you, hey, do you want to sign? Do you want me to sign it for you? And you'll be like, oh, well, yeah, sure. I guess if I'm taking it, I should, I'll take a signature for whoever it's from to promote their whatever. But then that's how they get you, right? They'll ask you if you want them to sign it. And you're like, yeah, sure, okay. So they take it back from you, and then they sign it. And then they give it to you again. But while they're giving it to you, they're like,
hey, I'm a part of this YouTube channel. We're trying to fight racism. We have 1 million hits.
I know, that sounds crazy, but that's what they're saying, okay? And then they'll ask for a donation.
Appreciate you taking the time to stop, man. We taking donations.
And
Anything
if you say
helps.
you don't want to donate,
Man, give me that shit
then
back,
they're
man.
like,
What are you-
okay, give it back.
What are you, racist, man? You don't
But
want
it's
to
funny
support us?
because initially, the way that it looks like they're handing them out, you don't think that they cost anything.
Hey, man, we up and coming
And
artists,
they'll
man.
tell
We're just
you
trying to
that they
get our
don't
name
cost
out there.
anything because they're just asking for donations.
Any amount works, man.
But
Any
also
amount.
at the same time, they're like hounding you.
Hey, hurry up,
the
man,
longer
hurry up.
you stay in this interaction with them, the more they begin to surround you. And especially if you're somebody that's like more passive and isn't used to being in the streets of New York,
I'm walking.
they will get pretty aggressive with you. They will walk with you down the street, basically trying to force you to give back what they just gave you before they told you that it was going to actually cost you anything. If you are actively ignoring them, if you actually say anything back to them, they feel like that gives them permission to start walking with you, even if you're expressing to them that you don't actually want the thing that it looked like they were handing to you for free. Does that make sense? It's like a very aggressive way to get money out of people. And if you tell them that you don't have cash, that's basically their way of saying, oh, so what you're saying is you do actually want to give to us, but you don't have cash on you. Well, that's fine, because we take Cash App, we take Venmo, we take Apple Pay. It's cool. It's cool. Just show me what you got. What kind of phone do you have? I can show you how to get there. Man, any amount really makes sense, man. Like, it's totally fine.
I don't want cash anyways, man. Cash App, Venmo, Apple Pay, Square, PayPal, Zelle, man. Whatever you like, man. You can mail me a check if you want. It's about donations, man. We trying to fight racism.
And it makes it a little bit difficult when I am 25 feet away from these people and I'm working with a legitimate organization. So by the time they get to me and I'm like, You seem like somebody that cares about women's rights. Do you have 30 seconds to talk real quick?
Oh no, it's another scam.
At the exact same time that this is happening, there are constantly, and I mean at every hour of the day, there are people walking up and down the street saying,
Badges.
Are you
Badges.
done with
got
your pass?
badges?
Y'all got
Are you
tickets?
done with your
Selling
pass?
badges?
I'm trying to
Give
get
away
away
badges?
badges.
Y'all got
I'm selling
tickets?
badges.
Buying
Hey,
or
I'm
selling
done with your passes.
tickets?
I'm selling
Tickets, you got
passes.
them?
Whatever you want.
because we're at Comic-Con. So there are people that go into Comic-Con, they're there, they went to see one panel or one group of people, and they hang out for an hour or two, and then they leave. And then they're walking around with this pass that just says Thursday or Friday on it. So they don't need it anymore. And there are people outside that are just constantly asking for badges or tickets or passes because they think you don't need them anymore. I'm going to take them and then I'm going to sell them to people that don't have them at all. But the funny thing is, who would be walking right outside Comic-Con like in a Power Ranger fit or with a giant Morty head on that doesn't already have a badge or a ticket or a pass to Comic-Con? But regardless, there are people outside all day. Again, right next to me, a legitimate canvasser, professional fundraiser, and these people are hollering about getting tickets, selling tickets, buying passes, selling badges, and it's just nonstop, just like the car horns in New York. And these people, they really don't care at all. Me, somebody that's actually out there working their normal 9 to 5, they're trying to sell me badges and passes. They're asking me if I have extra tickets. I'm like, dog, I'm actually at work for real. And they start rebuttaling me as if they do what I do. So all the way up until this past week, I have been fundraising for a charity that helps animals. And I am simply asking for somebody to donate $25 a month, right? So if somebody says something like,
I don't think that's something I can afford.
I would say, okay, I hear you, but hear me out. I'm not trying to put anybody in a rough spot. Do you think if you're going to spend $25 on anything today that's going to make things hard at home, they're probably going to say, nah. And I would say, got him. Yeah. So just get involved. Be the reason a dog gets a second chance at life and just keep it going as long as it's something you care about.
That's a pretty good pitch.
Cool? Boom. That's my job. And I get paid like decent money for that. Like it's a living wage. But there are grown men out here with no gear, no badge, no shirt, no tablet, no nothing, walking up to me, trying to give me the same type of game. A brother walks up to me and says,
You need a badge? You need a pass, man?
Look, I respect a brother out here hustling. So I look him in his eyes. I'm like, look, man, I'm out here working too. I'm on the clock, man. So, I appreciate the offer, but I'm good. He tries to hit me with my stuff. He's like,
I hear you, man. Look, it's Comic-Con, though. Like, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I don't want you missing out on that, man.
I'm like, excuse me? Are you trying to acknowledge and rebuttal me? Are you acknowledging and affirming and Are you trying to reclose me here? How do I say this? Get the fuck in a way that you can understand. I'm on the clock. But here's the thing, I respect the hustle, and it's not as aggressive as the mixtape pushing guys asking for donations, surrounding you, following you down the street, giving you the impression that things are free when they're not, calling you racist whenever you don't want to give them money on the street. These guys are asking people for things that they may already be done with, asking for people to give them those things so that they can sell them and make a profit. Whatever. It's a different kind of hustle, but it's still a hustle because what about the people that are working this event that are relying on people to pay the real price for whatever? I don't even care about that. Originally, I was going to say there's one more hustle that I wanted to go into, but you know what? Bonus hustle.
Bonus hustle?
Bonus hustle. Bonus hustle. Bonus hustle. Bonus hustle. This is probably the best time to pull this scam. It's kind of similar to the handing out stuff to people that they think is free and then telling them that actually you're going to charge them for it. But this is especially difficult because it's Comic-Con. So everybody's dressed up. And I have tons of pictures of people at Comic-Con that were dressed as cool people and characters. And I just asked them if I could take a picture of them. And they would just stop and be like, yeah, sure, man. They're flattered that I want to take a picture of them. And it's really sweet of them to do that. They definitely don't have to do that. And if they said that they were going to charge me for it, I'd be like, what? Okay, no, it's cool, man. But we went to Times Square. A couple of my coworkers and I went to Times Square. It was Sunday night. And there are a couple characters out there. One specifically was Minnie Mouse. You guys have heard of Minnie Mouse.
Oh, hello. It's me, Minnie Mouse.
So we're in Times Square, and I see a Minnie Mouse fully decked out. Looks like straight out of Disneyland. And there are children that see Minnie Mouse, and they go up to Minnie Mouse, and like, Minnie Mouse, can we have a picture? And Minnie Mouse is like, I have to do the Minnie Mouse voice. Hold on. Yes, of course. I'd love a picture. Wow. I'm not doing that again. That was really hard. But the point is, they take a picture with Minnie Mouse, and Minnie Mouse she just has her hand out. She's like, oh. She just puts her hand out. She's,
oh, put the money in my glove. Please stop doing that.
But yeah, I don't know why it's so hard to tell people that, like, the service that you're providing, the thing that you're giving them, whether it be an item or a service or experience or whatever, like, why is it so hard to tell them before you engage in it, before you interact with it, that you're going to have to pay? Because otherwise, you don't want Minnie pulling up on you like,
pay the money or delete the fucking picture, Cole.
Fortunately, that didn't happen, but like it was close. Like it could have, and it's just crazy that. Whatever. Okay, here's the last thing. Here's the last thing that I witnessed, that I experienced, and it might be the craziest thing you've ever heard. I'm not gonna lie. One of the things I was looking forward to more than anything was to see people breakdancing in Times Square. Like, that's all I wanted. And Sam and I, we got some dinner. My dear pal Sam, coworker and one of my best friends, we had some Popeyes, and we're hanging out, waiting to meet other people, and we noticed that there's a crowd forming, like a circle, and it's because people are, in fact, breakdancing. Now, I didn't know at what point in the act that they were at, but we were watching them breakdance, and the breakdancing was impressive. It was better than anything that I had ever done, and I won Best Dancer when I was in 8th grade, by the way.
We do not care.
But they're flipping, they're jumping, they're doing like a handstand, but it's one hand, and they're hopping up and down on the one hand. It's impressive stuff, right? Now, at one point during the performance, Sam and I noticed this little girl. It can't be more than 4 or 5 years old. She's out there, and she's just standing in the circle. And we're so confused. Sam and I are like looking at each other like, you see this little girl, right? I'm like, yeah, I see her. Like, what is she doing out there? Is she protesting? Like, what's happening? And all of a sudden the music stops. And I think that this little girl is in trouble. She's ruining the show. They're going to find her parents, whatever. But instead, they're making an announcement. This is part of the show.
Do you all want to see us jump over this little girl?
And Sam is right next to me, and she's like,
no!
Like, at this point, the crowd's like 50-50. Like, I swear, it was like half the people were saying yes, and half the people were saying no. And right after he hears the response, the guy's like,
Nah, that's bullshit. Do y'all want to see us jump over this little girl? Y'all think we can't do it? Who wants to see us jump over this little girl?
And the crowd reluctantly is like, yeah, let's just do it so she can go. And somebody, one of the crew, it's like 4 or 5 guys, He's making space. He's telling some people to get back so like they could set up this lane for him to run and jump over this little girl. So let's be real. Like, let's be honest. Based on the moves we've been seeing these guys doing, it's not that great of a feat to jump over this little girl. But the guy runs full speed and does a flip over the girl. And everybody's like, whoa, that's pretty impressive. Good job. But the thing is, the girl stays. They tell her to stay. Like, she's not moving. So then they ask for other people to get in the circle so they can jump over them.
We can do better than that. We can do better than that. You, young lady, young man, do you mind being a part of the show? Come be a part of the show.
They grab like 2 or 3 more kids, like children, like very, very small children, cannot be older than 6. They also grab like 6 or 7 fully grown adults. And these are like taller looking people, like all of them 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot. That's not that tall. But like a lot of them are like over 6 feet even. And they're getting a good amount of people. And it clicks in my brain. I'm like, these guys are not about to jump over all these people. Like, there's no way. It's not possible. It's not. I've watched a lot of videos of like people doing very impressive dunks in my life for whatever reason. I've spent a lot of time on the internet. The point is, I know they can't do it. So I'm wondering what the trick is. Now, it turns out that this is a planned intermission in the show. Now, somebody gets on a microphone and they come out to make like a speech of sorts. And the way that he starts the speech, you would think that the show is ending.
I just want to thank you all for coming out. We put a lot of work into what we're doing here. We've been doing this for 10 years, and we all about positivity. You know, we could be in the streets. We could be at your house. Why would we be at their house? Because they're not there right now.
And people are laughing. I don't find it particularly funny, but okay.
We put a lot of work into the show, and, it's way less than the price of Broadway. We simply asking for donations so we can continue doing what we're doing out here. You know, putting on a show for the people, the good people in New York, visitors, tourists alike, okay? Now, the average price of the donation is, it's like $20. It's $20. It's way less than the price of a Broadway show, right? Right. We're going to make the jump in 2 minutes, y'all. 2 minutes. But first, we going around, we collecting donations just like a church. You know, don't be stingy. You know, we out here, we performing for free. Any type of donation will help, but the average one is $20.
And at this point, like 15 to 20% of the crowd leaves, but you know, there's a lot of people still staying there, Sam and I included, because these guys are really good at breakdancing. And they did just do a flip over this little girl. And I see how many people are out there, and I want to see if they're actually going to not only jump over these people, flip over these people. Now, I'm not giving them any of my money. No. But a lot of people do. They come around with a bag, okay? Not like something you can tap your card on, but like a bag that it looks like you could put gifts in. And it just occurred to me the entire time throughout the performance when they were doing the breakdancing that they kept telling people to get as close as they possibly could to the orange cones that they had set up around this breakdancing area. And I think that was for when they come out and ask for money. You can't act like you weren't right there. You didn't see them asking. You haven't been engaged with the show. So they go around, they start asking people for money. And the guy that's asking for money, he has the microphone with him. So as he's asking people for money, when he sees somebody digging through their wallet, he'll say,
we just got.
And if they get like $5, he'll say,
$5.
And the entire time this is happening, there is still a little girl in the middle of the circle stuck there, like waiting in line. There's these other people that are in the circle stuck there, just waiting in line while they are going around this circle of people asking them for donations and then announcing how much they got from each person. And eventually they go around the entire circle. They've been filling this bag up with cash or getting people's cash apps or whatever. And then they finally get to the middle of the circle with the people that are standing in line waiting to be jumped over. And they're like,
thank you all for your contribution. Thank you. We just have one more matter to deal with.
And they get to the people that are waiting in the middle to be jumped over, and they tell them that everybody has now given except for them. Now, at this point, they are basically taking quote-unquote donations from the people that are supposed to be getting jumped over, but if they either don't have that much money or they don't want to give it all, they tell them to get to the back of the line, and if somebody gives them a sufficient amount of money, then they tell them to get out of the circle. So basically they are free from either like not having to participate in the show anymore, or they don't have to worry about whether they're going to be jumped over or not, because there's like 8 people in line and no human being can jump over 8 people in a row that are standing in a line. Also, they ask the kids in the front for money too that are in the front of the line, but obviously they don't have any money, so they make a joke out of it, and then they ask their parents like to pony up for them. There's also this really funny bit where if a guy doesn't offer enough money to get out of the line, they ask him if he's there with somebody. They'll point their girlfriend or their wife out in the crowd and on the microphone say,
yo, do you love your husband? How much?
And they're just asking her for money so he can get out. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's like a hostage situation. It's wild. So finally, after the breakdancing, after jumping over the little girl, after completely pausing the show, after telling everybody that they're out here trying to do a positive thing when they could be at your house because you're not there, after they get money from everybody in the circle, after they get the money from the people waiting in line to be jumped over, then they finally get the 3 or 4 people left in the circle. They have them all bend over.
What the fuck?
So it is way easier of a jump. At this point, it's a jump that I could do. And then they just flip over 3 people, and then the show is over. Like, it's it. They break dance, they hustle for money, and then they jump over people, and that's it.
What a sick joke.
And they just do the show back to back to back. It's insane. The manipulation that was on display, the level of grift and hustle and aggression that I saw in what I thought was just a harmless street performance was insane. The jokes about robbing your home, the involvement of children and not releasing them unless somebody pays, constantly telling people to get closer and closer and closer so it's harder for them to get out of the act once they realize that payment is expected. And watching the show the second time around, you realize that they do the exact same thing, same script, same jokes, same size child to jump over first, same tactics, same story, same we could be in the streets, we could be at your house because you're not there, average price $20, less than a Broadway show, etc., etc. It's all a crazy grift. I doubt that they're setting aside a certain amount of these cash donations for tax purposes. I don't know if the actual average amount that people donate is $20. I don't know if any of them actually have the ability to jump over like a grown person. But that's New York. Concrete jungles where dreams are made of. I'm going to wrap it up here. New York was wild. If you made it this far, if you're on YouTube, leave a like. It's free. I would do it. If you enjoy a story-like podcast like this, if you want to support the show, consider becoming a member. It's literally $1. You get access to the Therapy Discord and exclusive member-only posts. Leave a comment about the weirdest thing that you've experienced in a city that isn't your own. And if you live in or around New York, do you go to Times Square? Does any of this sound familiar? Am I tripping? That's all I got. Love you. Mean it. Enjoy the outro. See you in a couple days.
Why is nobody disrespecting me back? Because they're just not good enough to disrespect me. That's the problem.
Know y'all sick and tired of me talking about my hot wife. So here's another line where I just say that she is not cold. I talk a lot of ambold. I'm Kyrie with the handle. I'm Josh and I'm more like Drake. And this just the preamble. Right around time I'm grinding. I put in time and I'm the master of rhyming. I'm the master of timing. It just took patience. Just started wearing a watch. Oh, not to mention I'm rocking a ring. Looking more forward to rocking more bling. Keep it low key. I'm scary. I don't want beef unless I'm at a steakhouse. I'm the man, got no house. Got a plan, sell an ounce. I'm just playing. It's a joke. You keep quiet. Just stay mouse. Got the key. I'm like Khaled, but the king is I'm no hater. Give my props to Bunny Hop. I got love for the creator. Woo, woo. Just got my money up. I just hit the lotto and the currency is happiness. Y'all think that it is blasphemous? Well, you don't know the half of it. I just checked the analysis. This rap shit, I done mastered it. That's an M1, dunking on the ops like I'm 6'5", spitting like a newborn, but I have better manners. New crib like a manor, I want a baby minor. The haters, they down to fight, I'm giving out free shiners. My blinders, man, they stay on. I'll say again, I'm take on. Black Liam Neeson, pull up in the Nissan, cooler than some Freon. Shine bright like I'm neon, not the best, I'm beyond it.
Believe it.
You can't sit at my table. I'm Kanan, you are able. You sitting around on TikTok. I'm trying to make my wrist rock. You trying to get your rocks off. I'm trying to get my bread up. You try